Broadcasting from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip, it's Talktails with Chris Phillips. Coming up on today's program, the unbelievably talented and extremely handsome Frankie Scinta. And now a man who's never met a tanning bed he didn't like, Mr. Chris Phillips. Woo-hoo.
Hello, hello. I live for that, Frankie. Well, ladies and gentlemen and friends, welcome once again to the incredibly hot and exciting city of Las Vegas. My name is Chris Phillips, and you're watching Talktails. Our little weekly, I guess what has turned into a therapy session for me to come in and speak with my Vegas pals and wear off my weekend hangover with a couple more cocktails. And this weekend was certainly no exception, Scott. Every weekend just seems to get crazier and crazier for me. We certainly did our show Friday night. It was packed. It was awesome. Had a wonderful time. Saturday night, I had the opportunity to go to Nikki Beach at the Tropicana.
Yes.
And I attended the annual Vegas Magazine party there, and then it turned into the Britney Spears after party.
Did you meet Britney?
Yeah, pardon me?
Did you meet Britney?
Met Britney, and more importantly, I got to hang out with a lovely young lady named Jessica, who is Miss Nevada America.
Nice.
She is a lovely young lady. We had a wonderful time.
But let me guess, you're a couple now?
No, she asked me to go to church with her Sunday morning.
Oh.
And it's not that I wouldn't have gone to church. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get home till 7.
Right.
But no, but that was a fun night. But then last night, of course, we had our Vintage Vegas show with our orchestra doing the old vintage standards, where I had a lot of friends come in. And after that, went out with some buddies from Scottsdale. And then that turned into a kind of a date at 1 o'clock this morning with a new young lady I met this weekend. And she's fetching.
My God. You know what? We're going to do a new show, Chris. It's going to be called Follow Chris Around. And we're just going to follow you around and all the people that you date. And I think it will be huge for us.
No, but this young lady's caught my eye. I'm not going to lie to you. This one's special.
Okay.
So we got home about 5 o'clock this morning, and then dragged myself in here, and that's why I look the way I do. But with that in mind, if you have any questions or comments, please, I would love for you to, anytime through the week, reach out to us at Talktails@vegasvideonetwork.com. Or if you are like me and have no idea what the heck internet is, then please go to our toll-free number. And that's simply 866-966-4599. With any kind of comments or questions, leave a message for us, and we'll get back to you in a couple months. And then if you're one of those crazy people who are actually watching us live on the air right now, you can go to our live chat room, and please ask us any questions, and my guest and I will be glad to come up with some fictitious answer for you so we don't have to tell the truth. Speaking of my guest, oh my gosh, Scott, this is a cool thing for me. You have no idea. All my life, I've wanted to be a Las Vegas entertainer. I've told you before that I had no intention of ever being a rock star or being on MTV or touring. I always wanted to come to Las Vegas and follow in the footsteps of the greats like Wayne Newton, Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles, and some of my heroes, Sammy Davis Jr., because they kind of embodied the, I guess you might say, the maverick spirit of what this city's all about. And so, long story short, 10 years ago when I met Marley Taylor and we decided to put a Vegas show together, I brought her to Las Vegas for the first time. And I said, Marley, if we're going to go see a show that captures what I want to do, we're going to have to go see one show and one show only. It was a show at the Rio, and it's a show that consisted of this Italian family that literally poured their heart into each and every show they ever did with a desperate attempt to truly satisfy and entertain their audiences. And to me, that's what Vegas is all about. And so I took her to see the one and only Scintas at the Rio Hotel at the time, headed up by their ringleader, Mr. Frankie Scinta. And we saw this show, and we walked out of there and said, you know, quite frankly, hell, if they could do it, I could do it. No. That's not true.
That's real funny.
Thank you. No, that's not true. I said, Marley, this is what Vegas is all about. It's a true variety show capturing the essence of, you know, literally what this city was about, is about, and hopefully will always be about. And so I'm so proud to say I have with me what has become my dear friend after I moved here and met him, and he bribed me a lot of money to say that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have, as Scott pointed out, the very handsome Frankie Scinta with us.
Man, I want to thank you. Nice comments. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's all fives.
I don't want any fives. You can't even get a lap dance in this town for $5 anymore.
You
that doesn't even pay valet parking.
How are you, buddy?
This is an honor.
Good morning.
Full circle.
Good morning. I know, really,
Good
man.
morning
Look
to
at
you.
that. Good morning.
Can you believe that? You know, here's the deal, as I was saying.
Here's the deal. Your glass is full. Mine's empty.
Well, I heard you're too old to drink now. Is that true?
Well, you know what? What's this?
Oh, you're a vodka guy. Here, no, you don't drink.
I don't know what that is.
No, that's That's
it's Kai.
No, it's.
Oh, Kai. Oh, yes, sir. You drink, you look like me.
I know you. You're a Kettle One guy. But
Yes.
I'm not going to buy the cheap shit, so I got you this.
Okay, beautiful. Oh, that's good.
Cheers.
That's good. Oh, man.
Oh, is that what your Alcoholics Anonymous people
That's
say?
good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
That's all.
Here you go.
All right,
There
a little
you go.
more. All right, Pally, let's have a drink.
Well, my friend,
It's good to be here, man.
Sincerely, cheers to you, and congratulations on all your success.
And you as well, buddy.
Oh, nobody knows. Nobody cares.
No, really, your name is everywhere. I mean,
In the
at
post
least on
office
bathroom
and,
walls and 21-year-old girls. I met him at a party. Oh my God, his hair and his teeth. He's so tan.
And he's as fake as my boobs. No, here's the deal. I took Marley, as you know, 10 years ago this month.
Honest to God, this month.
10 years ago this month, I took her to see the Scintas at the Rio. We walked out of there and we said, oh my God, we have to be Vegas entertainers. That's what we want to do. After the show, we walked out into the bar and we said, oh my God, there he is. There's Frankie Scinta at the bar. So what we did is we walked by and we hovered next to the bar for a few minutes until maybe you would notice and you'd say, I don't know, we just wanted to say hello.
Well, I noticed
sure
Marley.
as hell, you noticed Marley Taylor and her assets. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that
And
means.
you were kind enough to say, hey, you two, come over here. I know you will never remember this. You pulled us up and you said, who are you guys? Were you just at my show? And I said, yeah, we just had the time of our life. You inspired us. We're hopefully aspiring Vegas entertainers ourselves. And you said the nicest things to us. You were, without question, the most inspirational person I know in Las Vegas to bring us here. And that's why we came here and regretted it ever since. How you doing, Fran?
Well, you know what?
I know you're the busiest guy in
We
town,
are
and I can't
traveling-
believe you found time in your schedule.
We're traveling an awful lot. You know, with a lot of our fans aren't coming to Vegas like they used to. You know,
Sure they are.
Well, some are in the witness protection. That's why they can't go out too much.
Or their ankle bracelets go off, too.
No, they go 3 miles from the house. It beeps. But a lot of them are not coming to Vegas like they used to. We're going to the people. We're going to Detroit. We're going all over Michigan, Ohio, New York. We're going to Anaheim, California next week.
You're touring all over the place.
Yeah, we
all
are.
over the world. For
we
that
were in
matter.
Spain. Yeah,
Yes.
we were in Spain, and it was great to watch my brother stutter in Spanish. He doesn't speak Spanish, but it was amazing. It's amazing how our show is still received by young and young alike. You know, you'll get somebody that's 90 years old in the crowd, and then there's a 15-year-old kid that'll come up to you and say, man, I was moved. You guys, I don't know who the hell that guy was. You know, like you do Dean and Frank, and they don't know who they were. But neither did we know who they were when we saw them the first time. We didn't know who the hell they were. We just knew they were good. We knew their character was fun. Jerry Lewis was fun. You know,
You're talking about entertainers that it wasn't just about their talent. It was about their personality that came through their talent that was so... It was like they had this aura and this mystique about them that it was so enticing, and you just wanted so bad to be either partying with them or to be them, for that matter. And so that doesn't exist much anymore.
It doesn't. Entertainers today, excluding yourself, a lot of entertainers perform to the back wall of a room.
Right.
You know, and it kills me when I see that, because there's a lot of talent out there. and you perform your face first into the audience, and you see what's going on in your crowd, and your people are waiting for that.
Well, that's because I'm drunk and I fall into the audience.
Well, that's okay, but that's a good. That's what my brother.
No, but I
does.
know what you mean.
But yes, of course. Either way, you get there. You get it, man. You entertain. You touch the people. You make them feel you're not Chris Phillips up here. You're down here with the people. You're part of them, but they're looking at you like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. And he looked at me. He said hello to me. Look at, he's talking to us.
Oh, well, that's what inspired us when we saw you. We noticed that you were probably one of the only shows left in Las Vegas that doesn't have some kind of a wall between the show and the audience. You're very interactive. You care so deeply about your audience, and you grab their heart, and you won't let them go. And I can tell that you are truly, more than any entertainer I think I've ever seen, I would say love to entertain. If I'm not mistaken, you'd entertain 7 days a week if it was up to you.
Absolutely.
If you have a day or two off, I bet you go crazy after.
I do.
I know,
when I have more than a week off, I'm antsy. I want to get on stage. But it's good right now. Huh?
It's in your blood from.
Oh my God! It's what I do.
Well, with that in mind, let's back up here because I know that this isn't something new to you. You were one of these. I guess I'm probably going to hate me saying this, but you were truly a child prodigy.
Yeah.
When it comes to just picking up on music and instruments so instinctually. You were 5 years old. You picked up the guitar. You were 7 years old. You started doing TV shows, entertaining. Let's back up here a little bit. I find this so fascinating because I'm guessing you didn't have extensive music lessons when you were a kid.
I had none.
How did you even stumble across a guitar or a piano, and how did that come about?
It was amazing. Our grandfather, Scinta.
Scinta.
He had 27 grandchildren and 2 guitars. When he died, he left my brother Joe and myself his 2 guitars. And that's how the whole damn thing started. Joe loved the rock and roll. I loved the rock and roll, the Beatles, but I also loved Dixieland music. Because I was a little kid, my mom and dad would take me to this local bar called Johnny's Old Time Tavern. There was a full Dixieland band, and everything they did, from the screens on the wall, people would sing along. Give my regards with a bouncing ball.
Sure, yeah.
And they threw peanuts on the table, and they said, don't put the shells on the table, throw them on the floor. And it was this whole party atmosphere. Well, I wanted to be a part of it. And my dad had a friend who had a banjo thrown apart in an attic. My dad put it together. My guitar teacher, who I took very few lessons from, showed me how to tune it, showed me a couple chords. By the age of 9 years old, I was performing in Johnny's Old Time Tavern every weekend. It was just amazing to me. But I loved to perform, and I loved watching the audience.
For those of you who don't know necessarily the history of the Scintas and who the Scintas are, please explain to them that it's not just yourself. It's a family thing, as you even have called it. It's your sister. It's your brother. You're all equally talented and amazing. How did you all realize at one point in your life that we need to do this together as a family? We obviously have individual talents that we can bring to the table.
How did that come about? Almost by accident. Joe had been with show bands traveling around the country in the 70s, and he was doing very well. Their last gig was in Hawaii. They decided to live there. My brother Joe and I had been in the band for a month by then, playing keys. They didn't want us to talk or say anything. You guys are the musicians. Me and Joe were like, wait, we got to break balls. Because we're Sicilian. We got to break somebody's balls. We couldn't. So we came home. We're out of work. I was 19 years old. Joe packed his van, ready to move to Florida to make alarm systems for houses. His friend owned an alarm system company. And he was going to do music on the side. The phone rings at my dad's house, God rest his soul. It was Paul McGuire, who is the ESPN color commentator for the NFL. You know who that is, right? Paul McGuire. So Paul McGuire calls and he says, Frankie, I need a piano bar player. I said, gee, I don't work alone. I work with my brother. My brother's across the table going, you're an ass. I don't do that. I'm moving. Yes, we'll audition. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. It was Tuesday night, I think. We rehearsed Wednesday, Thursday. It was Monday night. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we rehearsed in my dad's basement, the 2 of us. Friday night, we opened up at McGuire's Arches, a piano bar, and Joe sat on a bar stool right here next to me, and there was one spotlight that you see on an a backyard spotlight.
Sure.
My dad came in and put tin foil on it to split the light up between them.
God, that's awesome.
It started right there. Chrissy came in on weekends. She was 12 years old, 13 years old.
A little songbird.
She came in and she sang, "What good is sitting alone in your room?" Cabaret. And she would do all these show tunes, bring the house down. She had to leave by 10:45. Couldn't be there after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, right.
Dad wouldn't allow it.
Good.
And it was good for us because that's where all the babes came to see us perform.
course.
You understand that. He really understands that. So, in fact, let me get that off your shoe. Late night, huh? And it started. Before you know it, within 2-3 months, you couldn't get in this place. The Playboy Club came to us, an Italian fellow, and he gave us an offer we couldn't refuse. He offered us double the amount we were making at McGuire's, which was $400 a piece a week. We signed a contract. Within 6 months at the Playboy Club in Buffalo, it was the place to go, and there was a dance band that followed us. There was a lot like you guys. A lot, that energy, that sparkle that you have, that makes the people stand up and want to touch you. I mean, there was that kind of dance band. It was on a round stage like this table without the liquor on it, and there was a curtain. And we would finish our show, and the entire stage would turn. As we're ending, doing our the band started their entrance. And there was 6 hours of entertainment every night. 3 shows, 3 dance sets. We did that for 15 years.
Oh, my God.
We started touring Playboy clubs, and then, we started selling out wherever we went. We added a drummer, because Joe and I were just a duo. We added a drummer. He was with us 10 years. He left because he wanted to do magic. Pete O'Donnell joins the family, the Irishman.
So you got 3 Italians and a Mick.
That's it. 3 guineas and a Mick. Sounds like something you order at a restaurant. Give me the 3 guineas and a Mick and a Coke.
Well, let me tell you something. You have so many fans, obviously, across the country, and I think some of them just happen to be watching today. And there was somebody in our live chat room who's dying to ask you a question, if you don't mind taking
a
live question. Scott, I believe we have somebody who's
Scott, what's the question?
dying.
Not just one. We have several questions already.
Wow, I'm in trouble.
Frankie's the hot commodity here. FD wants to know who influenced you most in developing your Las Vegas show.
Wow. I would have to say the greats like the Rat Pack. Watching them guys on stage, and nothing was scripted. It was ad-libbed. It was fun. The audience didn't know it was going to happen. The entertainer didn't know it was going to happen. And when you were thrown off guard live on camera, it's a good thing. The outtakes on the Carol Burnett show. That was the funniest part of the show, when they'd break up laughing.
Harvey Korman couldn't keep a straight face, save his life.
Those were the influences on my life. Those people influenced me to want to be funny. I'm still trying to.
Well, speaking of that, what even brought you to Las? Because obviously you were touring and performing on the East Coast. But I'm assuming you always had this dream of coming to Las Vegas, which occurred, I'm guessing, about 10, 15 years ago?
We worked for Steve Sharippa at the Riviera.
Yes.
Steve Sharippa was, he was an entertainment director. And he's a dear friend, by the way. Good guy.
And
go ahead.
And I'm assuming connected.
All right, we're connected. We're good friends. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. Like Frankie Pantanzi said, I don't know nothing. No, but a lot of being Sicilian, you know how many Dagos came up to us and said, I'm going to bring you to Vegas. Maybe 1,000.
I can imagine.
One guy in Detroit, his name is Joe Vicari. He owns a beautiful showroom, which you should perform in sometime with your full orchestra. They would eat you up alive. 1,000-seat showroom. We sell it out every time we go there. Joe Vicari says, I want to bring you to Vegas. And I'm going to do everything I can. He put a team together, him and one other guy named Dick Scott. They went and four-walled the Las Vegas Hilton the year 2000.
That's right.
Within 6 months, everybody came after us. The Rio, Tropicana.
You guys were the hottest ticket in town when you were over at the Las Vegas
It was
Hilton.
a great time in our life.
I even remember Marley Taylor telling me, even prior to us seeing you at the Rio, that she had seen you there and said, you couldn't get in. People were screaming for more and more encores, and that you guys were just so.
It was a great time.
Hilarious,
Chris.
and
it really was.
I know
Thank
those were,
you, buddy.
and I know those were good times in Las Vegas in general. And that was kind of almost at the very end of what I would consider the golden era of live entertainment in this town. Before there was a shift to a different type of
circ shows,
and
you know, if you could wear tights, you could come out of the ceiling on a thing with a bamboo stick out of your butt and a fish on it, and if you fly on a big ball with a boat with a penis, I think you could do it. Are we allowed to say that?
Well, I'll tell you this. I had my own opinions about Cirque du Soleil, but I
love Cirque.
I got in a little trouble a couple weeks ago, and so I'll just say that.
No, I love Cirque. You got to understand.
I'll just say this:
thing.
They employ a lot of people.
They certainly.
There you go. They employ a lot of people.
That's good. No, and it is great. But I miss being able to go see an entertainer that will entertain me from laughter to tears, that'll fill your heart with music.
And all you need is some music, a spotlight, and a spirit.
That's it.
That's all you need.
And a little bit of cocktail.
Yeah. Always a lot of that. Now, you came to Las Vegas. You had this dream of, kind of following in the footsteps of your idols, and you mentioned who some of them are, from Dean Martin, and I understand Al Jolson was a big influence to you as well.
Wow. Yes, he was.
Yes.
Chrissy and I were very young. I had to be 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and the Jolson story was on, and I remember watching him perform and how animated he was. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the footage. Larry Parks, who played Al Jolson, I thought that was Al Jolson as a kid. I didn't know the difference. But the way he performed and what he would look out in the crowd and he would just, when he sang certain songs, he'd get on his knees and people were, that was entertainment, man. The guy gave everything.
Everything he had.
And then you saw the story of his life, how he lived for music. His father wanted him to be a cantor in the synagogue, and he was torn between his religion, and it's about life. It really is. I mean, that Jolson story was incredible. I mean, it really was. And if you could get it, if you could look it up, you could YouTube it probably, or if you can buy that video of any one of the Jolson movies, Jolson Sings Again, the love story, the passion, the entertaining, losing his voice, getting sick and watching one of his sons die. I mean, the whole thing it was part of my life, yeah, and it was.
And that's what you guys have instilled into your show, is you take not only experiences in your life, but experiences in your family and bits and pieces of who you are personally, and you bring it to the stage, and it shows. And people can tell the difference between just some fake kind of sterilized show and something that's truly from your heart.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to have to take a break in a second. But when we come back, I really want to talk about your family and your extended family, because I know that's such a big part of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Talktails. My name is Chris Phillips, and I'm here with my very special guest, and more importantly, my very dear friend, Clint Holmes. I'm sorry, Frankie Scinta. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm darker than him. Sorry, Clint.
Hey, I'm Al, man. Is that how you get them to do that all the time? Just sit there and be an ass. Is that it? Hey, I'm Al. Hey, I'm Al Mancini at Top of the Food Chain. You are watching the Vegas Video Network. We got big forks, big spoons. I got a big mouth. I got no guests.
Well, folks, we are back on the Vegas Video Network. You are watching Talktails, and I am Chris Phillips. And as you know, we are sitting here with a true Las Vegas icon and legend, not only here in Vegas, but all over the country. It's Frankie Scinta from the Scintas.
Thank you, buddy. Honored to be here with you.
And I want to talk about your family, but before we do, there's somebody who's dying to ask you a question again on the live chat room. That we have, if you don't mind,
dying
Scott.
to hear it.
I'm actually being berated by the chat. When are you going to ask my question? Okay. Crystal and Tow Truck want to know when you're going to be in Arizona and Buffalo, New York. So hold that. And then also, Maya wants to know, when you guys do gigs in Las Vegas, what percentage of your audience is locals?
Well, all right.
That's interesting.
We are going to be in Buffalo this summer, this fall, actually, at Seneca Niagara. It's a casino in Niagara Falls. We'll be there for, I think, a couple nights. You could go to our website, thescintas.com. I don't think the we haven't gotten the contract yet. Arizona, we're working on as we speak. We're dying to hit some of the casinos in Arizona, as we have never performed.
They would love you
before.
there.
I would love to go there.
That is where I'm
and
from,
I know
and they would-
somebody that probably could get us, probably mention our name. He's only known me 10 years. You think he'd give me a little help? Do you think he'd help me? He hasn't done a damn thing. All he's got to do is tell somebody in Arizona, because everybody knows him. You think he'd want to help?
Good night.
Frankie. With that in mind, here you go.
Oh,
buddy.
thank you. No, really. But it would be a nice. I'm not going to bug you, but I'm not going to ask you again.
Let's go do something together.
No, let's do
Let's
it.
do a double bill.
Let's do it.
I'd be honored to open for you.
You know
and your
what?
family.
No, we could just do it. We'll do it together. We'll put both shows together and go do a show there.
Well, then
That would be fun. We got the orchestra.
let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
I'm doing a string of Luby's cafeterias through Maricopa County and Phoenix area.
Really, I'm doing the nursing homes.
Yes.
It's our audience. The average age is deceased. They have a parking place for their walkers. I love you guys. Do the George Burns. We're going to I'm so sorry. This is just water. The question was, the last question. You got so many cameras here, I'm getting dizzy. Which one has the light? Okay, I see it. Okay, but I feel like Casey Anthony. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, right. She's innocent. Yo! Sorry, can I say that? 31 days, you don't call somebody? Come on. But Sicilian loses their kid for 5 minutes, and Walmart, they're like, lock the doors! Anyway, the last question about Vegas. What was the question? Scott's over there going, we'll never be on the air again.
So, I'm going to ask another question as well. But the question about Vegas was, what percentage of your audience is locals versus tourists? But before you do
go
that,
ahead.
I've got somebody here named Crystal who was pounding me to ask you to do a shout out to Little One.
Oh, hi, little one. Yes, she's a little thing. She comes to our show. Hi, Crystal. Okay, I did it. There you go. Hi, little one.
Thank God she's Little One there.
She
but
comes with her boyfriend or her family to see our show all the time. It's amazing. Since we were at the Rio.
She's very happy about that.
Well, tell her thank you. And she's
Made her day.
And also, somebody else. There's so many people here rolling through
To answer
here.
the other question, when we're at the Suncoast, I would say it would be 80-20. But it's changing because now that we're playing the Suncoast more, we're putting out advertisements to our fans around the country, and they're actually planning their vacations to come here when we're at the Suncoast.
You've become a destination point.
And then finally, Channel Jackson wants to know, have you guys ever been approached to do a TV show?
Actually, we are working on one. We have been working on one for 2 years, and it's something that does take a long time. A sitcom, actually. And in fact, I'm going to LA to meet with a director of
Really?
one of the shows that's on TV right now.
I know that's been a passion of yours for a long time.
Yes, it is. It's kind of scripted reality. In fact, our pilot that we just finished filming about 6 months ago, Steve Sharip is in it, Brad Garrett, Rich Little
nice.
plays.
Oh, my gosh,
Oh,
that's
he's in love with my 82-year-old mother, and I'm trying to convince him not to.
That would be Mama Scinta.
That would be Mama Scinta. And Mila Kunis is in the. Mila Kunis from that 70s
Sure,
show.
of course.
Very pretty girl.
Very pretty.
I'm sure you would know her. He knows them all. But yes, that is my goal. I love entertaining live, but after doing television and filming on scene for a sitcom, man, I'll tell you, that's where the fun is. It really is. I'll never give up the stage.
No, but I think that your brand of entertainment would transfer into the realm of TV, and so people from all over the country could see what you're doing, and to
Absolutely. Between the scenes, it would be great to show a vignette
I know.
of what we do. You know what I mean? In between going from scene A to scene B, there we are on stage doing, a character.
You need to get it out to the masses.
I would
for
love
sure.
that, man. And if I'm ready. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Anyway, I'm
let me
getting
tell
old.
you, I think one of the things that I was most inspired about when I originally saw you, and even more so after I got to know you, is that you were one of the only shows I've ever seen in my life that is based on your family and your family experience. Before we went to break, I had mentioned the fact that family is very important to you, to say the least.
Yes, that
And
is
to the
true.
point where, if I'm not mistaken, you brought some of your extended family out here to Las Vegas to be around you. Is that true, or did they just follow you?
We actually.
How did that work?
When we decided to move to Las Vegas, it was a big decision.
Sure.
You know, because money is great and success is great, but we were brought up with this clan, this family. And when we had moved here, we were here about a year alone. Joe, Chrissy, myself, our drummer. And I realized how much I missed my mom and my brother, Tony, who was a homicide detective in Buffalo. Yes. Tony now works for Steve Wynn as one of his corporate investigators. So Tony's making more money than all of us. But yeah, Tony's a great guy. He's a retired, detective, and he loves his job. He loves working there. Mom, we extended her life by 20 years, bringing her here, because the winters in Buffalo were cold. She's alone. My dad had passed. What would she do? So now she gets out every day. She walks. We got her a dog, which she didn't want.
She's something of a local celebrity in her own right in this town.
Mama was in, she played Grandma Nunzio in Tony and Tina's wedding for about 3 years. Until she couldn't come and see our show every night. Then it was too much for her.
She's your biggest fan,
so
I'm
funny.
guessing.
She is.
It's like my mom. Go to every show.
The best.
I know, it's wonderful. My gosh. Well, what is it like working with your sister and your brother day in and day out? Does that ever cause any friction within the family, or is there any disagreements on? It's kind of a twofold question. I want you to answer that first. Is there any problems ever between you
Always,
folks?
you know, because we're very passionate people.
Sure.
We're all very different. Joe likes the business. Chrissy loves it. I live for it. Joe wants to do his job and get home. I want to do my job and do my job and do my job and then go home. Chrissy wants to do her job and then go to the mall. So we're all very different. We do have arguments. I'm sure you've had a few.
What, working with my ex-wife? What do you mean by that?
No, I mean nothing. But no, I'm sure you've had a few backstage arguments. When the curtain comes up, it's gone. It's
Showtime.
Gotta be. That's right.
Happy face.
And we don't always like each other, but we always love each other. And that's what keeps our family tight.
Well, obviously you guys do what I would consider to be kind of a traditional old-style Vegas show, almost vaudeville in the sense that it's a variety show. There's comedy, there's musical numbers, there is interaction between you all and the audience, of course. What I'm curious about is there's material that you guys use that sometimes you use like a puzzle, where you've got this much material on any given night. You can pick and choose from whatever elements of your show that you feel are important for maybe that particular audience.
Yep.
Who writes that stuff? How do you come up with this?
You know what?
Because
we
it's
all
hilarious.
throw it in.
Hilarious.
We all throw it in. It depends on the way the audience is going. Sometimes the audience is they're not digging the comedy like we'd like them to. We go more music.
Right.
You know. And
do you ever change things on the fly within the
yes.
show? Do you?
And now with when you have an orchestra, it's a little tough.
Sure.
Because they're in front of them is charts.
Yeah, and
when it was Joe, Pete, Chrissy, and myself, there were no charts. We just played. We sat down. We changed directions. Like instead of going right, we went left. Now, when you go left, you got to give that band time to put paperwork into place.
Right.
But it does work. It does work. It's fun. The mistakes are funnier than the comedy sometimes.
And I'm guessing that sometimes the mistakes turn into a regular bit that you do.
Absolutely. That's right. You know that.
That's the story.
That's how our career has been built.
Right.
Our career has been built on mistakes.
That get the laugh, and then you're like, oh, let's use that again.
Absolutely. The stupid thing that Joe does with the Neil Diamond when he looks up, and I go up to him and I go, what are you doing? We never sat down and said, okay, you'll walk up front, I'll walk behind you and say, what are you looking at? It happened one night. He's standing there, and I'm waiting for him to start this stupid, I said, and Pete's still playing the drums, Joe was playing the bass at the time, and I walk up behind him and I go, what the hell are you looking at? He goes, Frank, that's the lead singer look. And I go, lead, who does that? Neil. And that's how stuff happened on our stage.
Sure.
And us being brothers, it's almost like you know your reaction. You know what I know what his,
it's built-in chemistry with you.
It's amazing. We're very blessed. We really are, man. And I live to perform. I love to perform. And
well, I've never seen anybody more passionate about what they love to do than you, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
With that in mind, I think there's some people that have some other questions for you pertaining to your show. Scott, is there another question over there?
There is. First, Tow Truck wants you to know that Mike March is watching right now. And
Mike March. Wow, that's a lieutenant on the Buffalo Police Department.
There you go.
Yeah.
You said that you'd be...
The boy looked 18, I swear to God. Listen, Mike, no, this is great. I got to tell you, I used to ride with these guys because I was doing work for, I was doing, after I hit my bad habits in the 80s, I had written a song called Drug Free America, and it took me on a tour of the nation. I worked with the Buffalo Police doing drug programs for them for almost 10 years. And this is one of the lieutenants that I drove around with, and probably one of the finest Buffalo policemen I've ever met. But all policemen to me are great men and women.
And you also pay tribute, as I do, and some of the people that I was inspired by, like Wayne Newton. You're very good to the veterans and those who've served in the military and those who are brave enough to protect us so we can go out and make fools of ourselves. And I know that that's important to you as well.
Chris, people forget too easy that without them, men and women, on the front lines every day of their lives, while we're doing this, without them, this freedom wouldn't be.
Absolutely.
And the guys that are walking around with one leg or, one eye or one arm, those are the people that gave us our freedom and continue to keep us a free nation. We could believe, we could say whatever we want. You could go out, you could party till 4 in the morning, sleep until 3:30, and then be on the air at 4 with me.
What makes you feel that I did that?
No, but God bless them, and that's why we do it. Some people say it's corny. It's not corny, man. It is what it is.
No, I have a big section of my show where I pay have them stand up and get a round of applause. And
do you know how good some of those guys have never gotten a thank you, especially Vietnam vets? For sure. Some of them, they were spit on. And for you to recognize them in your audience, you got a fan for life.
You do, and you can see the appreciation in their eyes, and quite frankly, I think that's what it's about is sharing whatever it is you can do on stage with the people in the audience. Because if you're like me, I know you do your entertainment because you love to entertain, but the show isn't about you. It's about the people who come to see you, and it's a reflection of their lives through your comedy and your singing and your abilities. And I think that everybody can see a little bit of them in what you guys do, especially as it pertains to being on stage as a family. And I think that's your secret. And I hope that, do you intend to keep the family thing together as long as possible? I hope.
Yes, of course. And I mean, as long as God allows us to stay alive and healthy, we're a family, man. And we are far from looking at the end of this career.
Sure, you're just getting going.
We're still on the ladder. We're still climbing up the ladder. And stuff happens every day that lets me know that we're still a commodity. And we're very blessed. Anybody, like all of us, that are able to get on that stage at night and do what we love to do for a living, and if people applaud us for it, man, we're blessed. It's better than a politician, because politicians, half people hate them and half like them. At least 60% of our audience likes us.
Well, some of that 60% is in our live chat room, and there's another question for you if you don't mind.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, Nate wants to know if you've ever done a solo gig or have you ever considered doing a solo gig?
Well, Nate, that's a great question. I have done, recently I've done a few solo gigs, and only because either budgeting or somebody was doing something, I've been asked, would you do a show? I have, and the feeling for me is incredible. I mean, I rely on my brother and my sister as well as part of what I do, but I could see me, if I had to, I could see me doing this on my own. Well, I have done shows.
And I can say, too, I've seen you so many times, I think it goes without saying that I can tell it'd be very easy for you to capture an audience for 75 minutes just by yourself, without a question. For you, it'd be 175 minutes if they didn't have restrictions on how late you could get on stage.
Because I love doing it so much. And there's so many directions I can go. And I do love it. I have done it, Nate. That's a great question. I do love performing on my own once in a while. I do. Not that I'm selfish, only because, and my brother would probably agree with this, nobody loves it the way I do.
No.
Chrissy does.
I know.
Chrissy does love performing, but none of them
that comes across
compare to the way I love it. I live to be on stage.
Well, speaking of being on stage, if you don't mind, stick around. We're going to take one more quick little break, and I want to ask you about what you think is going on the other stages here in Las Vegas, in your opinion about some of that. Folks, we're watching Vegas Video Network, and I am Chris Phillips, and my show is called Talktails, where I get the chance to sit down with my Vegas pals and have one too many cocktails, even if it's during the day, and I love to do that. We'll be right back, everybody.
No pressure. Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers from, can't think of the name of my damn show. Golf and other four-letter words, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network, I think.
Well, once again, everybody, you are sitting here watching Talktails as I get to have a couple too many cocktails with my dear friend Frankie Scinta, who is without question one of the most talented and deserving of your accolades and everything else that has come to you, and the success and everything else. You were truly something of an inspiration to me. And I mentioned that when I came to Las Vegas, you were the show that we saw that I wanted to show my guys and Marley Taylor. This is what Vegas is all about. With that in mind, are you a fan of some of the other shows that are taking place today in Las Vegas? Not the ones from 20, 30 years ago, but shows are different now. There's no question about it. But is there shows that you would go see today that are currently performing on the Strip?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love to go see George Wallace. I love to watch him work an audience. Another favorite of mine is Vinny Favorito.
I've never seen him. I was interviewed by him once on his radio show and just ripped me to shreds.
God.
It was awful.
Oh, did he kill you?
Oh, God.
Well, you're lucky. He was good. He was nice to you then.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have any bruises.
Oh,
no,
God.
Vinny is a modern-day Don Rickles.
Sure.
He attacks every race, religion, nationality, size, people's head size, their ears.
It's awesome.
He's destroyed people. I've watched them at least 5, 6 times. You have to go. In fact, I'll go with you.
I would like that. Well, you mentioned comedians right off the bat, so that obviously is very
I
instinctual.
like comedy. I like to laugh.
Is there some musical acts or singers that you like to go see?
Well, I love to come and see you perform. No, I really do. I love to come
And there's
and see you
absolutely
perform.
nothing going on.
Whether it's your hip-hop, the thing you do at night, or your big band thing, I love to watch you work an audience, and you really do. I enjoy that. I have yet to see Donnie and Marie. Although
awesome.
I want to. I know. I heard they're very good. But every time I want to go, I'm a dago. I got family over all the time. My house is full of people, and I don't want to go with 13 people to a show.
Well, you mentioned some acts that incorporate live musicians, big bands, horn players, things that you don't see much anymore in Las Vegas because so many things are tracked, which brings up an interesting thing in terms of the state of Vegas today. And I'm sure you're aware of this, but some of you at home may not be aware that this weekend we had the largest concert take place in the history of Nevada out at the Motor Speedway. It was a 3-day concert where they brought in over 300,000 people. And the thing that's interesting about this particular concert is there was not one band, not one drum set,
musician.
not one guitar player, not one singer. It's all DJs.
It's different. It is. Kids want instant gratification. They want the music to be loud. They want to feel it. They don't care if there's somebody on the stage.
It's the Electric Daisy Carnival.
Yes. I was blown away by the numbers that it
Can
drew.
you believe that?
The
DJs are the modern day rock stars.
They really are.
They are.
They're as big as names, they're taking over names like Justin Timberlake. I mean, they really are. Their names are that big.
And what's happening now is, if you notice, even on MTV, the musical stars of today, the hip-hop artists, the pop stars, they're all reaching out to these famous DJs to incorporate remixes and such into their music. And so they're associating themselves with the DJs because that's what's hip and happening. And I'll be honest with you, I never got it. I thought, what, a couple guys spinning some records? What the heck is that all about? But because I've been kind of hanging out in the clubs lately over the last year, and to be honest, under certain circumstances and influences, I get it. I kind of get it now. I'm becoming a fan, and I'm understanding why the younger people are into this. But what's a shame is that I think we're starting to lose touch with live music and real entertainment. And I think it's important, so important, that Vegas understands that they need to continually hire something that has real energy to it, real passion, real emotion, that you can't get on an electronic DVD, of electronic noises and such that aren't made by human beings.
Yes, what I think is happening is when you have a concert with a DJ, you've got the mixed music coming at you.
Right.
You don't have to set up
Nope.
30 microphones,
Nope.
EQ it properly, and people are used to hearing that music perfect. Everything's perfect. The drums are perfect. The overtones are perfect. The vocals, everything's perfect. We're in a live situation. It isn't going to be as perfect, other than country music. If you go see somebody like Brad Paisley or one of these guys, they're just meticulous, and they draw big crowds. But you are talking about this rave crowd. Yes. You are talking about a certain age group.
Yes.
The thing about live music, it can draw from the youngest to the oldest.
And it always will.
It'll always
It's an interesting evolution, I guess you might say,
It'll turn.
in youth's culture, and particularly here in Vegas, because, where before shows used to be the big draw, now it's the nightclubs and the pool parties, and
Absolutely.
that's what's killing and making
That's
the big
what it
money.
is. People used to come here when we were at the Rio.
Yes.
They would come here for a week and they'd see 4 or 5 shows. Now they come here for a week, they may see 1 show.
Right.
May. That's a big word, because even Celine Dion, I'm sure. I mean, and Celine is internationally known. She's a star's star. It isn't like it used to be. People aren't going to shows like they're doing clubs, they're doing pool parties. Where they're going to run into Paris Hilton.
Well, they won't. They won't spend $70 on a show ticket, but they'll drop $7,000 just to get a table at Marquee on a Saturday night.
And a bottle of Sky vodka.
Yeah, isn't that so? Well,
that's the truth.
We're running out of time, but I want to get to at least one more question that I know somebody's over there dying to ask you, if that's okay.
Yeah, last question before we wrap up. Jackson wants to know, what non-Las Vegas act do both of you consider to have that kind of Vegas style? Non-Vegas act.
Wow, that's a good question. To have that kind of the Vegas style, you mean?
I mean, whatever that is defined. For instance,
they're all over the country.
Yeah,
there are certain
sure.
guys around the country that have it.
Sure, and I think a name that comes to mind that still is kind of in that realm is like a Michael Buble, who still incorporates the big orchestra and
he's funny.
He's funny and
he dances. He's
appreciates his audience.
Yep, he really does. Great.
Who's your favorite living entertainer today, if I may ask really quick?
Wow, I gotta say, I really respect Buble. I really do. I respect what he does. He does a lot of covers, but we all do that. I have to say, I would have to go toward country, because they're so gifted. They're so, Brad Paisley especially. The guy is just, I mean, a lot of people don't know, all those solos on his albums are him.
Those country artists are incredibly talented.
I mean, they're so gifted. They're great players. There are many great, I couldn't pick one, but I respect, I don't know, man. That's a big question there.
Well, I'm going to leave you hanging on that because we have run out of time, and
Wow,
when I have
I've
you
had a
back,
ball.
maybe you can
I can answer that when I come back.
come back. Folks, we are so proud to have with us, without question, one of the most talented and gifted entertainers ever to set foot on a stage in Las Vegas.
Thank you, buddy.
And I'm just figuring if I say that, he'll buy the drinks after we get out of here.
We're going back to his party that he was just left a half hour ago.
Well, we're with Frankie Scinta from the Scintas, and I'm Chris Phillips. You're watching Talktails, and once again, I want to remind you that you can contact us at Talktails at VegasVideoNetwork.com. I thank you so much for watching. Until next Monday, I hope you have a great week, and thank you, my friend. I love you to death.
Thank you. I love you too. You're the best.